Well, guys, today is a sad day. I listed the wheels for sale on the Touring, and I actually have a guy that came yesterday, actually a subscriber, so shout out to him. And he decided to buy them, so he's coming back today, so I gotta pull them off. So it is a farewell to this setup. Dialing this setup in was like one of my first couple YouTube videos. It got pretty good views, so a lot of you are familiar with this. I'm sad to see it go. I'm glad to see it go. I'm gonna miss this look. I think it's a super classic look, but I don't know if I've touched on this channel before. After the whole E36 pan situation, I realized that I don't really have a car that I can daily safely, that's also practical. Yes, this car is a good ride height, but it's not practical. This is not practical. The Calypso is not practical. The E12 is not practical. The Touring, on the other hand, is a practical car. It's got a lot of trunk space, and lately I've been finding myself needing a car to do stuff in, you know, a daily driver. For those of you that don't know, when I went on that Montana trip, we took my dad's SUV out there and left it out there. So that car is gone. So that was basically like my, if I needed a car, I could always hop in that and have it. I have the pickup truck still. That's my dad's truck. So when he's home and he's using it, I'm out of luck. And, you know, I move around a lot of crap, like wheels, for example, in that last video. So I just need the Touring to be more functional of a car. The slammed on 17s, while I love it, is just not gonna cut it anymore. So as you can see, the wagon is now functional spec on the Vert stock wheels, which is actually kind of funny. But I mean, this thing is just disgusting on these wheels. That's a 25 mil up front, and they're still sunken in as hell. That's a 7-inch wide wheel, squared. Looks awful. I raised it up because I'm not in a rush, like I said, to get new wheels again, blah blah blah. But my buddy Zach needs to borrow it, so I told him I'll let him borrow it. And then that same day I drove it, got home, and coolant all over the ground. I don't know if the GoPro was just on me, but so now this thing, another freaking car that has to start leaking coolant on me. So it's dripping right down the front of the motor, similar to the E36's situation. So either the water pump or the thermostat housing, I'm doing both. So I'm not gonna run you guys through that. You literally just watched, if you watched, I just posted a video of me doing the cooling system on the Calypso. So it's literally identical. So you can only imagine how sick of doing cooling systems I am. And the E36 is still not done. This is actually the E36's stuff. And because Zach needs it tomorrow, and I don't know when I'm gonna do the E36, I'm just gonna steal these and put them on this. Luckily for these inline sixes, everything is the same. S52, M52, S50, M50, it's all the same stuff. So I'm just gonna steal the water pump, which is a Hepu, whatever, off the from the E36. This is a metal impeller, obviously, what you should get. And then I got a Borg Warner, I think this is an 88 degree thermostat, whatever. I'm just doing these two things, and then fresh coolant for it. Radiator I'm gonna leave, that's fine. Hoses are good, so I don't feel the need to do all that stuff. So I'm just gonna try to get it back on the road. I'm gonna do that, and that's all you're gonna hear about. I'm not gonna bug you guys with that. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is what's leaking. This thermostat housing gasket has seen far better days. Inside the thermostat housing is a little gunky, a lot of junk. So I'm gonna clean this thing out. Still gotta pull up the water pump, and we'll see how that looks, but definitely could be the culprit right here. Got the old pump out. The O-ring's actually not too bad. So I don't know. There is some wobble in the shaft, so could have been that, could have been the thermostat housing. Either way, I'm replacing both of them. Here's this next to the new one. So you can see the Hepu has wide channels in the blades compared to this. I feel like this would be a much more efficient water pump, just looking at like how the wheel is designed. I mean, who knows? I could be wrong. Could be less efficient, but to me it seems like it would be much more. As I prepare for the dyno, it's on Thursday, today's Monday. The only thing I really need to do to this car is pop a 16-pound wastegate spring in. Right now I have a 10-pound. It's at like 58% duty. On the 85, I'm gonna be pushing like 24 plus pounds of boost, so I need to upgrade to a bigger spring. So I'm going with a 16-pound spring. So really all I gotta do is just pop off that V-band, pop off that V-band, pull the wastegate out, pop the spring in. Should be quick and easy, I'm hoping. But before then, another follow-up on the power steering leak. As you can see, that's just a couple hours of sitting. It is bad. It leaks pretty crazy. It is soaked down there. So again, I think I pinpointed to this hose, which has all those coils in it. And then I checked the Touring, I checked the parts car, and I have this hose, all 93 plus. And this seems to be the new design for the hose, because this is what all these cars have, except for this one. So I'm gonna pop this. This is I had this laying in the garage from a different steering box from another car. So I'm gonna pop that in really quick. Hopefully that goes smoothly, and replace it. And then I'm gonna clean up everything and see if I get any leaks still. I'm so sick of this power steering leak, and I know that the place that's dynoing it would not be happy if I'm just leaking power steering all over their floor. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this line in and see if that fixes the leak, and then I'll get to the wastegate spring either tonight or tomorrow. I should have definitely drained the reservoir before I did all this, because it's an absolute mess. But I got the line out. So you can see here, this is the old line. So it has all these coils, which is like extra cooling, I guess. But this line basically has a fitting here, a fitting here, and a fitting here. So it's got 3 places to leak. This is, I believe, the updated version, since it came in 93s and on. So same overall, like, you know, same design, so it pops right in, same bends, but it's solid all the way through. None of this. And I believe this right here is what's been leaking really badly on the car, squirting fluid everywhere. So one less place to fail. Hopefully these fittings are solid and this thing doesn't leak too bad. But I'm just gonna pop this in. I got some new washers, and yeah, so I'm fingers crossed that this has been the culprit all along. I really hope it doesn't still leak, because then I will be lost, because like everything in the engine bay is wet. And it's really weird, because looking from the bottom, you could see the fuel line's wet, this is wet, the bottom of the throttle body's wet, and it, you know, that doesn't make any sense. There shouldn't be any oil around here, but that line sits about right here. So I'm guessing that line, just when driving, would leak so bad that it would kind of launch around the engine. At least that's what I'm hoping is going on here. I'm gonna definitely double check and tighten my turbo feed, but I'm almost positive that's not leaking, because that would spray really far, and it does all smell like ATF. So I believe that's what's going on here. I'm gonna pop the new line in and clean this all up. I'm gonna hose it down, brake clean it, and go on from there. All right, the new hose is in. Probably can't see down there, it's dark out, but I ran it. I bled the power steering. So far, no leaks on the ground, no leaks up here that I can see. The washers at the pump are good, the washers at the box are good, so the connections are good, and I don't see anything apparently leaking. So I'm gonna go for a test drive and beat on it and make sure that when I get back there's nothing dripping. But so far I'm pretty excited, because there's no drips on the ground. Yes, well, that's doing nothing. Before it gets dark, I'm gonna bleed this cooling system, because I told you guys I was doing the water pump and the thermostat on this. So I'm gonna bleed this before it gets dark, and then I'm gonna get back and drive that. Everything's all mixed up right now. Everything's broken, and I've been working on everything. The Vert's power steering is finally fixed. I broke the hose clamp, I guess, on the line, so that was dripping really bad. But so the E34 and the Vert both had power steering leaks. Hopefully both are remedied, so I could freaking stop dealing with power steering leaks. They stain the ground really like bad. Here we are, another day, another BMW. I think this video, I'm honestly just gonna make it like a week in my life, basically. Like, nothing I did was enough for its own video. So yesterday was the Touring cooling system. For today, tomorrow is the day this E12 is getting the exhaust made. Not really made, but I've said it before. I'm running the stock back half with the new E24 downpipe. so it needs to be made to adapt to each other. So I need like an adapter piece made. It'll be a little expensive, but I didn't want to take this to just any old muffler shop. I'm very particular about this car. So basically what they want me to do is they want me to mount up the back half of the exhaust, and then so they can see it tomorrow and see what needs to be done, rather than me bringing them the exhaust on its own, which I understand. And I mean, I have all the mounts, so I'm gonna probably have to cut it in a couple places to like fit with the downpipe. So I'm gonna have to cut and modify both of them so that I leave a gap. But I'm gonna do that right now, and hopefully that's not too big of a pain in the ass. So here we're at my little junkyard of exhaust. So this is the E12s right here. So I want to utilize the stock mufflers because I think they're the way they are for a reason, you know, back pressure and whatnot. So I want to use these. That's the reason I haven't gone with basically just making a whole exhaust. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to do something. I know they're kind of old and rusty. I'm probably going to cut out this heat shielding. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to have to try to get this thing up in there. I think I'm just gonna cut it like right here, to be honest, from the start. But we'll see. I'm gonna lift the car, put it under there, and get a look at how things are fitting. Got the exhaust dragged up, so now I got a plan where to cut it. Looking at the downpipe that's in here, it comes out and kind of curves this way, and this exhaust also curves the same way. So I'm wondering, I know they won't line up, but I'm wondering how far off they'll be. I don't want to have to cut this, but I'm sure I'm going to have to. I also got to cut off that bracket right there that's no longer in use because that's just hanging really low. But so I'm going to cut this first, and I think I'm going to give it a cut like right here to kind of keep the curve, but also not go too far back. So I'm going to cut that there, and then maybe, and then I'm going to mock it up, and maybe that one might just, by the grace of God, probably come out too far. But if I trim that, then I can, I mean, they should be pretty damn close. That's one pipe. You can see this is the actual pipe. This is like the heat shielding, or I don't even know. I'd imagine heat shielding. I don't know what it would even do. It's basically just pipe, round pipe. But so that's what I'm left with there. So I'm gonna try to cut this one as even to that as possible, and then test fit her. So I got the rear mounted, and you can see how close this is to lining up. Like, they are right there. If this was a double downpipe as well as this, you could probably put these into it and it would probably work. I didn't think it would be that close. So they're overlapping just a little bit. So I'm gonna chop this about like right here. That should give a little space. They'll probably want more. I'm guessing they'll probably chop this further, but I'm trying to make it so it just mounts, and so they can get a look at what they need to do. I'll let the shop do the final touches. So I'm gonna chop this, and then yeah. So looking at it, this mounts, if you push the exhaust kind of where it's supposed to sit, it is a little bit to the, I guess if you're looking at it from this way, a little bit to the left of that downpipe. So it's not perfect, but I think with just a little bit of work, that'll fit. I cut the downpipe, and that's where we're at. So close yet so far. This is pretty much mocked up how it should be. Yeah, so it's almost the same angle. This is just a little bit to the right of this. So interested to see what they're gonna end up doing with it. Like I said, probably gonna cut this shorter and maybe cut that to straight and then make their own S pipe rather than try to adapt this S. If it was just this pipe to this pipe, it'd be one thing, but to get to the dual, I'm gonna have to get a little creative. So all right, so the E12 is loaded up. It's 7:30 in the morning. About to head to Fluid Motor Union so they can look and tell me quote and whatnot on the exhaust. I'm hoping that means that they'll take it today and finish it soon, not like they can't start it for a week. because I don't want it sitting outside there for a week. So yesterday, being the tweak I am, I actually washed it, sealed it, waxed it, and conditioned the interior to keep it nice and protected while it sits there, assuming it will sit there for a little bit because it's really hot and sunny these next couple days. So it's actually supposed to storm today, which sucks. But yeah, I'm gonna head there, get the quote. Hopefully everything sounds good and I can get this thing done so I can finally drive the E12, because I'm not driving it with that open downpipe anymore. It's miserable. So retro cars and coffee today. Little 535 IS action, cardinal red interior, alpine white, very nice. E3 Bavaria, very, very rare car to see. I wish I had my E12 to sit next to this thing, and this thing is sweet. With E46 seats. Alright man, run me through the build. S50, E30, on a standalone.
Car's fast, that's why I bought it.
That's damn right. E30 M3. The cleanest E28 M5 I've ever seen. Euro spec. Oh, it sounds like some forced induction. M88. Look at this paint. This thing is immaculate. Sounds like a supercharger, no? Jamie's touring. Kyle's car, as known. A Dakar. A lot of E34s. Definitely E34 meat.